104.5, the team, you're home for New York sports. We now head. Ryan, you're in Tampa, right?
I am. I'm actually looking over Raymond James right now here at the Media Hotel. It's about 3 miles away, but it's a beautiful stadium sort of setting up in the backdrop, and got a little bit warmer weather than what it was back in Tuscaloosa. I missed out on that one chance every 3 or 4 years to get some snow to come to Tampa and watch a national championship game. I think I won in that conference.
Ryan Fowler joining us right now. He's on the Tide 102.9 in Tuscaloosa, but he is in Tampa. Ryan, the big story for us up here is Lane Kiffin no longer offensive coordinator. Is that going to have any effect on this game?
No, because I think you removed a toxic person out of your locker room. Lane Kiffin had become a big distraction for this football team. He called an awful game plan against Florida. He called another awful game plan against Washington. And I think Nick Saban had seen enough from Lane Kiffin and said, "Get out of here." Okay, you can use that word mutually all you want, but it wasn't mutually. Okay, Nick Saban doesn't do anything mutually. Okay, he tells you what he wants. They might have mutually agreed to pack up the boxes and ship them to you, but there was no mutually. Because Lane Kiffin came out, I think, a day later and said, "Well, yeah, I'm going to be in the press box." And then 3 hours after that, Nick Saban held a press conference. He goes, "No, we're not interested in that." Lane Kiffin was fired from Alabama.
Ryan, is this another black mark on Lane Kiffin's resume?
No doubt. Listen, probably one of the most immature coaches I've ever covered.
Wow.
I mean, he is, and I've been covering football since 2000. Just a very childish, doesn't act his age, does things off the field that really causes a lot of distractions for the football team. And I think he just wasn't as dialed in. You know, I think he last year he wanted a big job. He didn't get a big job. So this year he came out with probably a little egotistical problems trying to manage his ego. You saw him go up on social networks and start tweeting out fan bases and photos and different things and aggravating fan bases. And I kept saying this was going to hurt Lane Kiffin in getting that big job. And if you go back to Houston, what they say? It was not a safe hire to hire Lane Kiffin. I wouldn't agree. I'd agree with 100%. I wouldn't hire Lane Kiffin to run my local fast food joint, my football team.
Good luck, FAU.
Ryan, let's talk about the actual play calling on the field. You talked about the criticism you faced going up against that Florida team and also the Washington team. Is it going to be Saban influencing these play calls, or is Sark going to have most of the call and say in what goes on in the field?
No. I believe Sark will. You got to remember, this guy was an offensive analyst, so I think he brings a lot. He knows the offense, and from everything we've heard during practice this week, it's been a different type of mindset, confidence level for this Crimson Tide offense. Offensive linemen firing off the football a little bit better. I even had Ron Anderson who told me, he said, this defense scored more touchdowns this week in practice against the number one defense than they have all season. So there's something clicking about this offense. And, guys, if you can find a way to get this offense clicking with this elite defense, I think it's something special. When we talk special, I think it's winning another national title.
Ryan Fowler with us right now. He's on Tide 102.9, of course, giving us all the insight down there in Tampa. Jonathan Allen, is he the best player out there?
I think he is when you look at college football, but we don't look at defensive guys the same way. I mean, I think the popular pick would be Deshaun Watson. But, guys, when you look at Jonathan Allen, go look at him take on 2 and 3 defenders. Gallman is going to have a tough task tonight handling all these pass rushers. He's going to have to pick up that first guy that's going to try to take his quarterback out. When you look at Jonathan Allen, this guy he's a stud. I mean, he's right now second all-time in sacks at Alabama behind the great Derek Thomas. When you start putting up numbers that's even in the conversation with Derek Thomas, and I know he's not going to get there as far as a career. Derek had 52. He's only in the upper 20s, but this guy's been able to create, he's a run stopper. He's not just like a pass rushing specialist. He's a guy that can get after the quarterback. He can stop the run. He's that leader. He sets the tone. You better know where number 93 is. Oh, yeah, and you better know where number 10 is. You better know where number 56 is.
As good as those.
I mean, because that's the thing. I mean, that's the quarterback. When you go to the line of scrimmage, it's not about circling one guy. It's about circling 7. Where are those guys at? Because I got to find them.
As good as that defense is, someone may have the responsibility of shadowing or watching Deshaun Watson because he had a huge game against Alabama last year in the national championship. What's the game plan to slow down Deshaun Watson?
I'm sure they'll have a spy on him, probably Rashaan Evans like it was last year, to try to control his running ability. But, guys, I look at the numbers. He's 586 this year. He was 1108, I think, last year in rushing the football. He had 12 touchdowns last year. He's got 8 this year. But one of the things that really jumps out to me, he's trying to stay in the pocket more and run less. But by doing that, he's throwing a lot of interceptions. He's thrown 17 interceptions so far this season. If you throw, let's just say 2 against Alabama, chances are they're going to take one of those back for a non-offensive touchdown. They love to find the end zone after getting the turnover. They've done that 11 times this year, which leads college football. They have 15 non-offensive touchdowns. I think if Alabama's offense would not have scored a point in any of the games and just allow the defense to score, I think they would be 6-7 on the season. Ooh. Just allowing the defense to score points. So it's pretty special when you look at this football team from that perspective. But Deshaun Watson's going to be a playmaker. He's going to get some of his positive yards. I don't think there's any doubt. But I don't think he's going to have 40-point type game. The offense that he threw up last year, Alabama's defense was embarrassed. And they told us that Deshaun Watson embarrassed them in that championship game. I don't think that'll happen 2 years in a row.
Ryan Fowler with us right now, 104.5 The Team. So, Ryan, let's do the game. If Saban wins this one, what's that do for his legacy? Does he surpass Bear Bryant?
Well, the old people in Tuscaloosa don't want me to say that, okay? But I don't really care because I have to give a true opinion. In the current time that we live in college football, he's tying Coach Bryant if he's able to win tonight. He will tie Coach Bryant with 6 national titles. I think he's the greatest coach to ever walk the sidelines. And the reason why is it's a different game, guys. You have to go through so many extra games for one. Now we've got college football playoffs, but the parity where everybody's signing 85 kids, everybody has good players. Everybody has, that first 22 that can play. And I think this is where you look at Nick Saban. He's able to do this. He's leaving the SEC behind. Like, there is as big of a gap in the SEC right now as there was back in the 60s and 70s with Alabama. And so when I start looking at what he's been able to do, he's done it in 10 years. When you look at Alabama, he'll have 5 national titles if the Tide's able to win tonight. You start looking around and you start going, 5 out of the last 8? Right. Coach Bryant never did that. Against the Crimson Tide it's not slowing down. This team is young. They may be right back in this thing next year.
Do you think he gets it done tonight? Will he win national championship number 6, and what do you have as your final score?
I picked 31-17. I just think Alabama's defense has got something to prove. I'm just not buying that Deshaun Watson's going to torch this defense with this mentality. Guys, this is a unique, hateful bunch. And they told me a couple of days ago that they're trying to find a way to prove, this wrong, that Deshaun Watson cannot do this again. I heard the word, I know I've said this a couple of times, but they said embarrassed. It takes a lot of mentality to win a national title and then come back to Tuscaloosa and have a players' defensive meeting and say, guys, we were embarrassed in the national championship game, and we got to find to correct that.
Ryan Fowler, he's on the Tide, 102.9 in Tuscaloosa. He's down in Tampa for the national championship, and we appreciate your time, my friend.
Hey, no doubt, man, and we'll talk to you guys soon. But enjoy this great college football game very soon. Thank you again.
Thank you.